So, I got tagged to do a top 5 anime series, my favorites. So, I'm going to try my best. I have an idea of what I would pick. Some of them are kind of loosely based. Uh, Mostly my number 4 and 5. So, let's get right to it, right? So my number 5 pick is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Um, this is probably the least permanent position. I feel that there are other series I like just as much as this show, but at the moment, I guess Ghost in the Shell takes it until something really hits me to like bump it off. So I'm just picking this one because it's a good show. I love the first and second seasons. I love the characters; they're really amazing. I wish I could explain the plot to it, but it's kind of complicated. It's hard to explain, and the whole show is like that. You really have to pay attention to what's going on, or you'll just miss it. I really love that there's like a strong female character in it. She's amazing, she's awesome, she's the best. She's also has, some weak points, or she's not completely, invincible or anything. It's a really amazing show. I like it a lot more than the movie. This could be argued. Um, let's see. I know that they're not remaking, but they're making another season or something. So far, I'm not particularly fond of the artwork. I don't like the makeover. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I don't know that many people who like the changes, the artistic changes to the major. So I guess we'll see what happens. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a cool show. It's a bit of sci-fi, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of crime and action, of course. So that's my number 5, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. My number 4 pick is is a little more permanent than my number 5, but it's like I don't know what to put here. But I really like this show for sentimental reasons, which is Cowboy Bebop. I guess it's one of those iconic series to some people. I know a lot of people got into it when it was on like Adult Swim and stuff, and I'm one of those people. It's like one of the first series I got into without the assistance of my best friend who got me into anime. So I really love the show. I've seen it like hundreds and hundreds of times. I have yet to see the movie yet, but whatever. It's a space action flick, well, not flick, but show. So it has a little bit of drama. It has a really good story. The artwork's awesome. It has one of the best soundtracks in anime. I don't think I can really explain the storyline to this one either, but it's interesting. I'm sure you can find what it's about online, and it'll make a lot more sense than me trying to pull something out of thin air of how to explain what the plot is of the show, but it's great. One of my favorite characters is Ed. She's very energetic, cute, and at first you can't tell if she's a boy or a girl, which is great. There's an episode with her father where he kind of makes that same mistake. I think he says like, "I love you, son. I mean, daughter." Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great show. Everyone should see it. It's fun. It's great, and the soundtrack's awesome, like I said. So yeah, that's my number 4, Cowboy Bebop. So my number 3 pick is pretty solid. It's a show I started watching on Adult Swim as well, which is Case Closed or Detective Conan. I know the series has been going on since like I think '94 or something, and I know the show is still going. So far I've made it all the way to episode 119, and I kind of decided I'm gonna just keep watching this until I get bored of the show. And so far I have not. It is a mystery comedy show. It's about a boy, I forgot his name. Darn, I should have looked this up. But I know his kid name is Conan Itagawa. But he's a really smart kid. Like, I think he's like a teenager or something. And he's very smart. His father's like a detective writer or something. He's really into solving mysteries and stuff. And he's really, like I said, he's really smart. And one day he gets drugged by these guys and he gets turned into a kid, and then so he has to make up a name for himself, Conan Egawa, and he ends up hanging out with this girl. I think her name was Rachel, and her father, Richard, who's a detective who's not very good at his job, but Conan helps him solve the cases and hopes to find the people who drugged him and to find an antidote to bring him back to his, his regular size and age and stuff. It's really entertaining, it's really good, it's kind of addicting sometimes. I find it interesting how many ways they figure out how to do all of these like crime things. Like how it's like, how are you gonna figure out who murdered this person? Oh, they did this with this fishing wire and this marble, and they set the time with this chemical and all. I never would have thought of any of that stuff. It keeps me interested because I love like solving stuff and figuring out how things happen. So I guess I love mystery. It's great, but I like the comedy too, so that makes it even more fun. So that's my number 3, Detective Conan or Case Closed. My number 2 pick almost bumped off my number 1 pick when I first started watching it, and my number 2 is Monster. Monster is oh my god, it's so great. It's 74 episodes long, but it doesn't feel like it. Like when I first watched it, I was hooked. I lost sleep. Like I literally lost sleep because I just kept wanting to keep watching and watching and watching to find out what was gonna happen next. I did a review of it on my blog. I even did a comparison of it with my number 1 pick. I kept seeing that people kept saying it's just like Death Note, and it's not at all. Like the only thing that's similar to it is the judgment of what is good and evil. That is the only thing that's the same, that's similar. Everything else is completely different. Monster is about this guy named Dr. Tenma. I think it's Dr. Kinzo Tenma, and he's a really he's a very highly recommended surgeon in this hospital, and there's a lot of politics at this hospital. It's like, well, if you're not like high standing, like a president or some celebrity or something, then you're an afterthought. So we're gonna get the top surgeon to work on the celebrity, and if the other person, and then if there's somebody else, some like nobody, they'll just get whoever is like hanging out, and they may or may not live because they're not as skilled and they don't care, I guess. And one day, Dr. Tenma decides that he's not going to save this, I think it's like a mayor, president, or some sort of politician or something. He wasn't going to do the operation on him. He's gonna let one of his colleagues take care of it while he operated on this little boy named Johan. And Johan has a twin sister too, who's in another room, who's just traumatized, not really injured. But Johan had a bullet wound to the head, so Dr. Tenma works on him and saves him, and he's like not quite conscious yet, but that ruined his reputation. And so the president of the hospital, which is also his future father-in-law because he's engaged to his daughter, turn on him, and all this other stuff happens, and him, the president, and a couple other doctors die. After Dr. Timma says, I wish they would appreciate me, I wish they would just die. And they get killed. And it just goes on. It just gets darker and weirder and more twisted and more interesting. It's just great. Just check it out. I want to review the rest of the manga series because that's how I first heard of it. I read the first volume at the library, and I was like, oh, there's anime, I'll watch it, even though I haven't finished reading it, but I'm going to finish reading it. I just want to own it. So, if you haven't checked out Monster, it's a murder mystery movie. It has some comedic moments, like really tiny, funny moments, to just lift the mood up because it is quite heavy on the mind, which I love. So if you have the time, watch it. So yeah, that's my number 2, Monster. So my number 1 is Trigun. If you didn't know that, most people know that Trigun is my absolute favorite number 1 series. No questions asked. My number 2 is pretty solid too. Monster is very, very much solid. So after watching Monster, it almost bumped out Trigun for number 1 when I was watching it. But something about Trigun just... I guess it's sentimental reasons. It's the first anime series that I was really, really, really obsessed with. I've watched it a billion times too. I've memorized I used to know all of Legato's lines because Legato was my first cosplayer. So I think my best friend will be named Trigun. Still want to read the rest of the manga. That'll take me some time. But anyway, Trigun is about this guy named Bash Stampede, and he has a twin brother named Knives, who turns evil due to some difference of opinion. So Bash is looking for his brother, and he has this philosophy of love and peace, trying to be a pacifist, not kill anyone, not hurt anyone and stuff, but everyone deserves a second chance and stuff. And a lot of people think he's a murderer, criminal or something, but he's not. He just causes destruction everywhere he goes because he's trying to save people and be a good person. And unfortunately, Knives doesn't make it easy for him, so he sends out his right-hand man, Legato Blue Summers, and the Gung-Ho Guns, the rest of the villains, to cause a little chaos for Bash. And Legato's goal is to cause ultimate pain and suffering towards Bash. So, it's a space western, yes, more spaciness. I guess I have this pattern of mysteries in space or something. Yeah, it's a space western. It's an action, comedy, drama. Mostly, I guess, action comedy. It's very funny. It has lots of good action moments. The soundtrack's pretty good too. I love the characters are just so unique and great, and I love it. It's great. I guess it's another one of those iconic shows that a lot of people like. What else could I say about it? Like I said, I did compare it to Monster a lot because they have tons of similarities of it. If you want to hear about that, I wrote a whole post about it on my blog, so you can check that out. So yeah, my number 1 pick is Trigun. How about that? So, if you want to tell me what your top 5 favorite anime series are, you can leave a comment or you can do a video response. I would love to hear what you decide to pick. I might do another top video thing for something else, because I did pose a challenge to the person who tagged me, and her challenge is, what is her top 5 anime series that everyone loves that she doesn't. And I think after she posts hers, I will post my list. I still need to pick out 3 more series. I already know what my number 1 and my number 2 picks are, so I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I already know that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you next time. Bye.